key lamp.
A full one. So this stuff growing on the side of the rock, the white sticky things are the light bulb sponge that we just passed over. So that's why I said we will see some more. So I'm not worried, but just letting everybody know what to look for when it's time.
Roger that.
And just because I want to hear myself talk.
We all want to hear that.
Well, you're only the few that do. Now we have the yellow Michaeli, the Ferrea. So much for this being a mud transect.
Yeah, we slowed to 0.4, so
Yeah.
it's counting a little bit easier for you guys.
Roger that. Thank you.
Yeah, that matches with the backscatter actually.
Oh, is it knocked over a little header, Coney? Or is there now starting to call it the Cheeto sponge? We're getting more of that Peristanella coral. That's the same one that was on the rock mosaic we did yesterday.
Oh, so it wasn't Lophelia.
Yeah, no, this is the one. This Gorgonian is the one we did yesterday, not the Lophelia one
right.
2 days ago.
Blending together.
They all do.
The backscatter looks muddier as we get to the slope.
Roger.
And look, it's muddier.
Yeah, it's easy to say that now.
Oh, I thought you were just saying that because, hey, look, it's muddier.
It's an important observation.
It is important.
Someone else can deal with the grain size, though.
I agree, especially from video. It's hard to tell how small it is.
Yeah.
And I could tell if it was a centimeter, but anything under that, this is way under that for most of this stuff. Especially when you touch it with the ROV and it goes poof. Oh, this barrel got knocked over.
Holding on. This tunicate seem to like the sponges with the hairy outside so far.
And the dead ones.
Yeah.
But maybe that's I don't detritus or something, because I don't know if that's similar. If the outside of these sponges are degraded on the spicules out here,
Like those,
compared to the ones that are dead. Yeah,
like
go
the
ahead.
hairy boot, that's just, like those spicules catch detritus and they don't really make an effort to get rid of it, right? Like that's the hairy color we're seeing.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
So it traps the detritus on it versus the other one keeps it clean like these white ones.
They do their ablutions every day.
That's right, the IKEA lamp. Somebody comes around and dusts them every day.
Probably the hagfish.
They don't. Yes.
Keeping their houses clean.
Could learn some lessons from the hagfish. So many of these coconut sponges everywhere now.
Yeah.
Wow, you're right. Look at that. I wasn't even paying attention to that.
It's gonna be fun to count.
You know what? You get 5 points for that.
Ah, thank God.
To Gryffindor, but
To
House of
Gryffindor. I'd like to think Gryffindor, but who really knows? Probably a different one each day.
I was going to say you're definitely Ravenclaw, Ben.
Ravenclaw? What?
You're so smart.
Oh, God. What a
She twisted that around on you.
Yeah, right? Can't be mad about a comment like that.
Nerd.
You're definitely Slytherin.
Yeah,
You're
right?
so smart.
It's like this evil underlying you. All I remember is Hufflepuff were the kind of dopey ones. So I'm glad you didn't say that.
I don't know. Some days you're Hufflepuff, some days you're Ravenclaw.
Yeah, when we do those circuit workouts, I'm definitely Hufflepuff.
No, you are definitely Gryffindor then. Definitely. You're so brave.
Thank you, thank you.
I would think everybody be puffing. But I'll be in Hufflepuff. Oh, the aliens are back.
Maybe Abby's back. Or she's going to Starbucks to try to get internet connection.
Oh, I thought she was going to get you something.
Unfortunately, it'll be cold by the time it gets from Seattle to Oregon.
I believe it would be, yes.
Yeah, all three of you are at different places.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Lizzie, she's from Santa Barbara. So she's farther away.
All right, there's 70 meters left, and we should just be approaching a steeper part right at the end.
Roger.
You mean this cliff?
Yeah.
the one in Sonar.
Yes, with candor.
What's that commercial with Captain Obvious? Is that probably?
I don't know, we haven't
actually
seen it
almost
yet.
told you that earlier.
Someone just might not have done their point killing in the map. No, it's real. Definitely real.
It looks real.
What's the contour change? Only 10 meters?
It's going to be, right towards the end of the transect, it's going to be like 1-to-1 pretty much. 30 meters over 30 meters.
Roger.
So according to Rennie, it's been pretty, you get these steep slopes and these occasional breaks. So we'll just be, it's not going to be much distance to reverse that we can do slowly.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, I like that we're just going right through it. Going over it, yes, going to the side of it was challenging.
A Picasso sponge. The yellow guy.
One of your souls there.
You know what's interesting is all of the coconuts are gone.
that?
Yeah, it was pretty discreet. And the backscatter showed up, let's see. Sometimes I wonder where that return actually comes from because it can be conflated from so many different things.
Oh, how big would that have been? Look at the size of the holes
Oh,
in
yeah.
that sponge.
Well,
Would have been nice to see, but oh well.
we can't time travel with Hercules.
That's the next model.
Do you want that sponge but alive, please?
A lot of clams.
Looks like there's used to be a lot of sponges here, right?
Oh. Looks like a similar morphology, this whole thing. Almost looks
Wow,
just like really
fields of-
porous carbonate, but I know it's not.
I wonder if, yeah,
Fields of
maybe these were all Ferreas. Yeah, and then they just died off.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow. Yep.
it's huge.
It'd be an
Foramen?
interesting photo mosaic, but I don't think that they'd want to show it off of the dead area. But it'd be cool to follow over time.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, you spell it F-A-R-R-E-A. So I've heard Faria, Ferrea.
A
all sorts of
rare,
different
not
ways.
PH.
Yeah.
This is crazy diverse right now. With the smaller sponges and stuff.
Yeah, at least it's providing substrate.
Continues to do a service.
I am glad we got this on transect.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
Got just 15 meters left. And I don't see anything in the meso yet.
Reg. Thanks. So how would someone count this? I mean, it's all a dead sponge beneath it.
That's a great question. We're going to have to, we're going to have to talk about that because you can see that one heterocony that was dead inside all this. So I'm thinking all this is dead Ferrea, but I don't know how to count it as a separate one, or if we just say
That's the substrate.
it's like a habitat.
Yeah.
But there are little
Which
live
we-
patches of Ferrea there too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Poor annotators.
Well, it's kind of like when they counted all the sponges the other day. Well, guess what? Now you get to count dead.
I just imagine it being hard if one person did half of it and another person did half of it. It might be
Oh,
very
yeah.
different data. Happens
We
with
actually
those.
had a Hollings prep scholar this summer, and it was kind of fun to try to teach her virtually how to do this. But her job was to go through as someone
just quickly,
brand
we
new.
can count this now.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. And I'm
Roger
just going
that.
to leave the ship move for a sec. We're done.
Sure.
Okay, the scholar.
Yes, and we can just keep continuing on right now.
Okay, sweet.
Let me write down the end time when it appears, and then I will continue with the scholar story.
All right, I'll bring us down to 0.3 knots.
Yeah, just in case I want to see something.
Yeah, so we had a Hollings prep, so the people before they're a Hollings scholar, there's a new thing starting out where undergrads, freshmen can basically do an internship. And so what we had her do is to look at the sponges without ever being trained except for saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, and then a quick virtual training, and compare that to other people who've done it for a while and look at the differences so we can start to get some kind of inter-analyst variability.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's valuable to know that.
And she did really well. You could watch it increase over time. Like if we just used, like, I think they used mine as the baseline saying, this is
ROV switching
good.
up.
And then you just saw hers get closer to that line by the end of the 6-week period. So there's definitely a learning curve on that.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, so we're just gonna switch out for
switching
dinner
for
relief.
dinner.
So they'll get you over the slope. We'll be back.
Okay, go have fun dinner.
So was she better than you by the end of the internship?
That's a great question because we're still working it up. Because what we did is when we looked at the numbers, they looked really good. But then when we started looking at the species individual, there was a lot of variability. So it may be that some of them, younger eyes could pick out better. Let's just say something like that against the background. So that's what we're still working up and trying to look at. But there's a lot of variability, and we think we're going to probably, she was willing to do it. We just have to find the time to do like another 4 or 5 transects to compare. So that way we have more data, because we only did 4 transects just because of the limited amount of time.
Right.
It was a 6-week internship, so.
Are those baby bubblegums?
They are. And a lot of dead sponge underneath.
Yeah. Ooh, look, a trench. Which means walls.
Yeah, we've been going up for a while now. Well, like 5 minutes.
Well, we didn't see any corals on our watch, like the one at shift change. That was it.
Well, we just got the spot.
Totally.
And I think after we get over this bump, we probably will lose the spot. So
Yeah.
we basically just finished a transect, and now we're just transiting toward our next waypoint. Yeah, we get over this, I think we're going to be in Mud City, maybe. At least the flats.
Like Clam City here. Can I zigzag around there? Or are you in a hurry to get out to that mud?
The ship just came to a stop. It's ending that move. Tom, do you want to explore this area before we continue on to EC, or just kind of go straight there?
I think we lost them.
No, you didn't lose me. It's somebody just forgets to turn the mute off. And he, that's when I have all the great things.
Yeah.
No, we could just keep going.
Okay.
We can just keep following because we got to get to the place that we want to do the mosaic is basically where we're supposed to end.
I see.
If we can get there.
So
So the next watch can do it.
Roger that. So I'm changing bearing to 065.
What is all this brown stuff?
So I think it's the Pharea sponge, which if we see some live ones, I'll show you, but right now I don't see any.
Bridge now.
So Massive amounts of it.
It's pretty much been this whole slope. This side has had this on.
Oh.
In fact, if you could, can you like just pan right, pan left to see how far it goes?
Yeah.
Bridge nav.
Yeah, because it's all the way out there still. Jeez.
Yeah, you can see in Argus,
200
it's
meters,
like all around us.
065.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's looking east, southeast there.
So that kind of matches our this bit of steep slope here. Kind of seems like everything that we're seeing matches with this steep dip.
Roger. And it's looking north there.
Wow. That's a lot of dead spot. What kind of sponge do you think that is that's dead there?
That's
I think it was Pharea.
Pharea. And we're not seeing so many Pharea that are alive here in this area.
That's back around
No.
to the west there.
What does the backscatter in a spot like this look like? Like, is it?
It was all. I'll bring it up, but it's bright.
So the sponge
In
gives
this whole
off
area,
hard returns.
So you
Must
can
be.
see we're still in a bright spot.
I remember somebody saying that dead Pharea turns to rock almost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as this is kind of the extent of the brighter bit
Wow, did that.
of backscatter.
Hmm. Definitely, a lot of things can attach to it.
This was once a great Pharea city.
Sure was.
Lots of nooks and crannies.
I wonder what caused its demise.
Well, it's funny because I just put in the chat that this reminds me of Catalina Basin. We looked at that a few years ago, I think now 2014, and saw most of the Pharea like this was dead.
Wow.
And back in, I think it was, I'm just going to go 88, they did some alpha dives out there, and it was 50% alive. So it already started dying, but now it was mostly dead over 30 years later. So
that's a recent end to that.
yeah, so just wondering, I mean, that was at 1,200 meters. This is much shallower. So whatever is the cause. So if you see that fuzzy stuff under the rock in front of us, that's the Pharea. The live stuff, the white.
Yeah, there's a bit of it there, I think.
Yeah. So there's some more of it around now that you can see. But where we were, I didn't see any alive when you were panning.
Right.
So interesting.
There's some sprouting up all over here.
Wow, this is pretty incredible.
There's dead heterocombs in there too.
Yep. Something did a massive kill here. And it seems like it was a while ago because all this stuff is now growing on it.
Sorry, what's your bearing again, Rennie?
065.
065, roger.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool to see that alive.
I wonder, do you think, I mean, with something like this, do you think it was all alive at once? Or is the Pharea that we're seeing now, maybe it had always existed like that, little patches of it growing and then dying, and other patches growing and dying? Or was this a giant Pharea reef?
I'm going to go with giant reef because if it was patched, they would, like where the lasers are, it all looks about the same in decomp.
Yeah.
But if it's little patches, I would think more, I mean, though I do see some more sedimenty looking areas in between.
Is that something you'd be
So,
able to see with a stable isotope analysis? Could you see that with dead sponges?
you know, I don't know. It's definitely, this seems like something that we should come back and explore at some time.
Yeah.
Take a core into it somehow. Because for all we know, it's deep. Like it's just growing on top of itself for a long time.
What would cause such a change if it was once a reef? What kind of climatological changes would cause it to fail essentially or diminish?
Well, let's see, you could have oxygen. If so, like, because we see the dead heterocone in here that are mixed in. Yeah, so there's other species that died that we can tell, plus we don't know about anything else. And so the oxygen could be down. It could be sedimentation. Something happened and it just sedimented in this whole area. It could be something, some virus that attacked them. It's possible there's some kind of climate change prior to what's going on now that occurred and created some kind of acid system, something to stop them. But it's, I mean, a lot of this is growing. If you look through the holes, there's still dead sponge underneath the stuff that's dead on top of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were recruited. Oh, there's a live heterocony. Or as you were calling it, the Cheeto. I like that name. But it's a mystery, and now it's a huge mystery now that we found this.
Right. I know, I think it might have been Pioneer Canyon, but we did see, or maybe it was even Olympic Coast. I can't quite remember, but we did see a sponge that was being, it looked like part of it was dying in a way that someone suggested, it may have been Abby, that there was some sort of disease or wasting that was happening. Not much was known about the viruses and sponges.
Oh,
Yeah,
those were the big heterocones with the striations.
That was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was up in Olympic Coast. They'd have brown stripes within the white, Tom.
Wow. Alternating or just mixed in?
Well, just mixed in like a swirl. And Abby was hypothesizing that maybe it was some sort of disease or something working its way through the sponge.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because this is definitely, it's not predation. And I can rule that out right now because whatever went through didn't kill this sponge by eating it. This whole area, you'd have to have so many predators and then it wouldn't have anything left.
Right.
So. It's just incredible.
My tail
You never know what you're going to find. Are you doing a collection with the tether?
No, just testing to see how hard the sponge is. Zoom there for a second, Steve. Of course, something alive in here. Oh, that's good, thanks.
Yeah. It's Peristinella with maybe a Stercolyptus and a Michaeli. So Abby is saying the three main reef-building sponges on Canadian sponge reefs are Heterocone, Africolistes, and Virrea. So this might have been a huge sponge reef at one point. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Want to turn the right way there?
I'm still at 065 heading, so you can go off.
Wow.
I mean, how far have we gone since the end of transect?
It appears we have gone just 100 meters.
Yeah, so right here, we had it before the end of transect, so it's at least 100 meters long.
Wow.
And not counting how wide it was.
If the slope is any suggestion, could be double that wide.
Wow.
Here's some
And
more.
it's still going.
You tried to land in it yet?
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it just
Crunch.
crunches.
Oh,
You sink into it. Not that hard, I guess. Well,
It's a
for an
bit
ROV,
rough of a landing.
heavy ROV.
Zoom in there, Steve. We got a few minutes for the boat.
You could take the claw and crush it in and see what it does.
Claw's buried at the moment.
Reminds me of that crinkled brown paper that you use to ship stuff.
The slurp, it's just gone.
Yeah, we might have a few samples on the vehicle there.
Did we see any live in this area? We could take a slurp of a live bit of it.
Yeah, there was some. I gotta catch up to the boat here now. Sample complete.
Yeah, could just turn on the slurp hose right now.
Well, that was fun. Thank you.
Oh, that was good.
It's all over the front of the vehicle now.
Yeah, once you catch up, maybe we can stop the boat and then find a live sample. Abby would like some.
Sure.
Yeah, if you stop him
Could
now.
stop now, yeah.
Yeah.
Bridge now. Look at that bedrock creeping out.
oh well.
Oh, wow.
Hold position.
So in some places, it's not as deep.
We know what they were building off of.
It's coming up.
What's that?
You're coming up a little bit.
No.
No?
Not really. Looking for some,
Array alive, right? Oh, now we switch to those coconut sponges.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know what they're really called.
Pottery sponge.
That's
is the porch light on?
Yes.
Thank you.
You want it on or?
No.
Okay,
turn
good.
it off. You might have to step back a couple of meters to, or Jake can turn around and probably easier to step the boat back.
Step the boat back. Hi.
Cool rocks.
Do you see any further?
Oh, we could progress a little farther too. I mean, I don't know if it's still going. I can't tell.
Oh, it looks like it's ending there.
Wow. Really cool. Geologically too, just these big angular blocks.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what's all under the Pharea. Gave enough substrate.
This is the type of sponge we started our watch on earlier.
Yeah, the Michele, or however you say it, and the Peristinella fan coral, and a paragorgid white stick coral, 2 of them.
Oh yeah, little guys.
And a mushroom coral, so there's at least 3 corals on here.
So is there little live bits off to my right there? It's so white, I could be dreaming. Nope.
I haven't seen any. Wait, what's right there? I don't think that's it. That's something else growing on there, I think. Yeah.
It's when you
Clavularia.
when you set down a sample, it's just gonna sink right in.
Wow. Expect it to sink that far.
It's amazing what's growing on it, even knowing it's not rock hard. Wow, these shapes. Yeah, I wonder if there's the rock underneath that's helping form these shapes like that.
That could be.
It's ridiculous.
Just gonna zoom back the way we came a little to look for, if you want a live sample.
Don't see any.
Me neither.
Wow.
That's some right there.
Yeah.
Where?
I don't,
I don't see the, it's like, that's a different kind of. It's like the clearer lacy bit, I think. It's the Berea.
Yeah.
Wow.
and it goes on forever. How about forward, upper left?
What's that?
Go straight now. I think there's some across from us on the top of this next rise.
Oh, right by the lasers?
Yeah,
Yep.
to the right of the lasers next to the sponge.
Ah, the little bit there.
Yep.
Over left.
Oh,
Remember
I see, I
there's
see,
a
I
few
see.
second delay, remember?
Yeah, I see it.
The tunicate on top. Tunicate hat.
You don't. No, not every organist can pull off a tunicate hat. Ferrea can. So Abby would like you to try to hover and slurp without
Hover.
crushing too much.
Hover and slurp.
That's a new one. Hover and slurp.
She doesn't want me to land?
Nope, she doesn't want you to crush much more. She loves sponges, even dead ones.
Yeah, I guess we could hover and slurp. You wanna, I'm changing out here. Can you turn on the, change the camera to the flush jar and turn on the slurp gun? Yeah, and then turn on flush. Turn it on. Turn on slurp. Number 6, yeah.
On flush, yeah.
Yeah. And then that's good. And you can turn it off and go to jar number 3. Oh, looks like there's something in 3. How about 4? You guys must have taken a sample.
On my thing, it doesn't say that there is something in 3, so I don't know what that is.
Okay, I'm going to turn it back on, Kim. On who's, is that still Steve? Steve, can you zoom in a bit?
We'll just, Taylor, and we'll just put it in 4 and then we can.
Yeah, we can figure out what that is later.
Yeah. The drive-by slurping.
Yeah, no,
What power you got there?
Got some in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would run it at like 50% for a minute now. Slurping on the fly.
Mark target there. What sample number was that, Taylor?
And then go back to the
Sample number 137. 137.
Once you're done.
Great job.
Yeah, we could change back to the flush jar. That'd be great. I'm going to leave you guys with this beautiful rock, and the lovely Jess is back to take over. Thanks for the fun. That was awesome. Dan's
All
out.
right, thank you.
Thanks, Tom and Erica. See ya.
All right, take care.
Bye, thanks.
Okay, back to the coconuts.
Yeah.
You guys saw the giant dead reef, right?
Yeah, just before we left. That was super cool.
Oh, it wasn't just before you left. We just got out of it.
I heard it
And
was
this
squishy.
looks like right. Oh, so you did see that part, okay. But but this looks like it's even older and decayed. Can we zoom in on just where the lasers are? I think this is
Roger?
even older dead
That's
Pharea.
cool.
Wow. Looks very close to sediments at this point.
Sorry, Tom, was there a request
Yes.
for a zoom?
Yeah, if we could just zoom in where the lasers are now,
Sure.
just somewhere in there.
Yeah, go ahead, Marley. Anything in particular you want?
Just trying to see if this is like old dead Pharea, and it looks like it. Like if you pan to the right a little bit, you can see that part down at the bottom of the screen. Looks like it was Pharea.
Little
Oh,
frilly
yeah.
sponges. Super
It is
cool.
now degraded big
Sand.
time,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Very cool.
Totally.
Can I come by there, Marley? Also, Marley, we lost visuals of the 8 high voltage cabinet.
All right, thanks for the heads
Right,
up.
I'm going to keep us on 065. We're ready.
Okay, 065. Are you guys done over here, Tom?
Yeah, we are done. We can go anytime.
Raj.
Come back, you get a hagfish.
And also, just so you know, we're like 140 meters away from the last transect, and we're going to be keeping a steady heading for a while. So whenever you think it would be a good time, looks like most of this is consistently kind of higher backscatter, and then right at the end there's this interesting like swath of low intensity signal too that we'd capture on that.
Yeah. So whenever we start moving, we can just do a transect. We've gone far enough.
Roger.
Yeah, Tom, so you want us to start anytime around here for the transect?
Sounds good.
Roger.
Anytime that we all start moving together.
Roger that. Keep this heading here. All right, Ben, you can go ahead and mark it.
All right, marked. I'm at 0.3 knots, but
Roger that.
bump it to 0.4. We can do that. Let's see how long it's going to take us to get to this EC target. Yep, probably just an hour.
Rog.
Yeah, it'd be great if we get there within an hour, because then we can turn and go toward the next one.
There we go.
I think that this is the longest transect between points, if I remember right.
Yeah, it looks that way. There's a whole smattering of waypoints around, I guess it's, yeah, around that old launch site from yesterday.
Yeah, so I think as we get to EC, and then when we get to ED, it's basically going to be, you can either take like the left side or the right side. That's why she did that. So you could kind of pick a direction and go one of two ways to try to find something in the mosaic.
Yeah, go in the opposite direction we were going yesterday, upslope of this ridge.
Yep. There's a little patch of dead.
What happened to all the Forelia?
Well, there's some, it's really degraded, because there's some down at the seafloor right now, right by the lasers. Or do you mean, why is it all that way?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just so widespread, but all dead. Various states of being dead. You'll have to point out a live
Yeah.
one for us so we know what it looks like live.
Sure, we can do that when I see one. But hopefully we'll be able to come back here now. We found something similar over the last few years in Catalina Basin at about 1,200 meters where there was a mass die-off of what looks to be Pharea again. And we were surmising for that one that it was some basin-wide O2 event, that it got really low, or that sedimentation got in. And we worked with some geologists who were talking about a slump on one side of the basin that may have sedimented in a lot of the sponge or sponges that were there. So it's hard to say, but hopefully if we come back here, we'll be able to grab some samples, be able to look at the live one that we got.
Yeah.
I don't know if Abby has means to look for viruses in them or things like that, but you know,
Are they
this would be a
particularly
great thing.
sensitive to any of that? To the
You know,
O2?
I
Abby's
don't know,
saying,
Whoa.
Abby's saying that glass sponges are very sensitive to temperature changes. So if a temperature increases, they will stop pumping in an aquarium.
Oh, wow.
This is pretty cool. Market.
yeah, so the actual cause, I don't know if we'll ever know, but at least there's theories and we can work on them. So left of the lasers is the white sponge is Pharea. It's basically a leafy sponge folded over. Or lacy is the other term for it, a lacy sponge. If I can see one earlier, I'll try to tell you. We're back in it again.
Yeah,
The
it's
dead
either
stuff.
Pharea or these coconuts. Like
Yeah, you mean this
zonation
the
right here.
split right. So right at the lasers, there's a white patch. It's going off my screen now, so it's probably past you, but that was Pharea. Trying to see it farther ahead.
But they have that same lacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only white instead of brown.
Yeah, there we go. It's the only difference.
Yeah, I don't know when this happened, but there's definitely a lot of growth on it. So.
But like that barrel
That's
sponge
a great
on the right
question.
or something, or that, you know, that probably predated the mortality event, I imagine. It looks pretty big. Though I don't know.
Well, there was actually, there's a kelp holdfast, but there was some dead heterocone that you could pick out that was in it. So something that would kill two groups. So that would be one thing to look at now, is why it would kill Pharea and heterocone and possibly others, but those are the only skeletons that are left.
Well, that's because they're the only two that maintain structure. Any of the lysocene barrels kind of melt away.
Sampling.
Yeah, which gives us an indication that it may be longer because they're all gone and only the ones who persist stayed.
Right.
And like Abby said, she said, there's so many possibilities. My guess is shift in environmental conditions, but not sure which factor.
Yeah.
So she could be a politician with that answer.
That's a good answer. Just interesting, like, you know, are these novel phenomena, or do these just occur at regular intervals anyways, without kind of all these thoughts about climate change?
Right. I mean, realistically, the climate has been changing since the Ice Age. It just depends on the speed of it. So if there's something that's changing it at certain depths faster or did at one point, I mean, who knows whether they're tens of years, hundreds of years old.
Yeah, well.
It would be great to get like a 3D image or a marker next to some dead heterocony and then follow it over time to know how fast it degrades.
Yeah, and then you
It's not a pretty one to show to everybody, but scientifically it'd be important.
Yeah. Is it much harder to age sponges than corals? Because I know with corals you have the like radio isotope dating. I don't know if that's...
I don't know. Abby, do you know anything about aging in sponges? I know that some things like shipwrecks, when you find one and you know the date it went down, then you can assume a maximum age of the sponge, the size it is, because it's growing on it. Things like that where you have a known date.
Oh, I see. That's interesting.
We're
that's
also
still,
comparing.
Go ahead.
We're comparing some of this AUV imagery from 2005, and then we went back over the same areas in 2018 and 2019, and we're seeing differences
The growth rates.
in the in the presence and in the sizes of the sponges.
That's interesting. Yeah, you really need time series data for this stuff, or at least time point.
Yeah. And you really want to do it out in the wild out here because lab, how do you recreate the pressure depth or the pressure, temperature, salinity, O2, all that? And then keep it that way for years. I mean, basically it would take a pressure tank, put it to the side and walk away.
Yeah. And then they'd find out they grow faster in the presence of human contact alone.
Yep. And whether the hagfish swimming over them keep them clean or not.
Right.
It's all about the hagfish. It looks like we have dead sea pens now, knocked over, which is interesting. A couple of live ones on Beluga. Might be Funiculina that we just went over. But there's a bunch that are knocked over. And if you want to go faster in this mud area, you can also do that.
Roger. We only have 60 meters left, but I'll bump us up a little.
Sure.
That's fine. Go up to 4.6.
0.41.
Tom, you're a speed demon then, aren't you?
Just efficiency.